Hi there, welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Thanks so much for clicking. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your continuous love and support. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please feel at home. Have you had an opportunity to subscribe to the channel yet? If not, take a second, hit subscribe. What are you waiting for? It's free, I promise. And please don't forget to like and share the video. I'm always amazed at the lengths that broadcasters and journalists will go to get their agendas across through interviewing different people across the globe. When I saw an interview by newsmakers of a panelist, of a representative from the EFF, AFRIFORUM, and somebody who aligned with the ANC, I was intrigued and wanted to hear exactly what they had to say about the hot topic of the struggle song.
Kill the Boer, the farmer, brr, pa, pa.
I got excited when I saw the introduction. It was done nicely. It set the stage, gave some factual information, and let the audience know what they could expect in the upcoming panel discussion. But after that, it was all downhill from there.
At the Economic Freedom Fighters' 10th anniversary rally, leader Julius Malema led the crowd in a number of chants, common in the South African political landscape. But one song caught the attention of the country and then the world. The chant, "Kill the Boer" or "Kill the Farmer," led the opposition party to say they will file a complaint with the United Nations Human Rights Council. Then, South African-born Elon Musk took to his social media platform X, claiming it was actually a call to commit white genocide. The polarized debate has renewed discussion on land ownership, crime, and freedom of speech. Here's a look.
Last month, thousands, clad in red, gathered in Johannesburg to celebrate the Economic Freedom Fighters' 10th anniversary. As the rally was ending, party leader Julius Malema took the microphone and began chanting "Kill the Boer," with the 100,000-strong crowd joining in.
Kill the Boer, the farmer, kill the Boer, the farmer, brr, pa, pa.
The term Boer is a reference to the country's white farmers, who own much of the country's agricultural land as a legacy of the apartheid rule. A clip of the chant was taken up by some conservative Americans as a call for violence. Then South African-born Elon Musk entered the discussion.
They are openly pushing for genocide of white people in South Africa. Cyril Ramaphosa, why do you say nothing?
And while Musk is not the only person with this claim, he has been accused of oversimplifying the issue. The chant has deep roots in the country's civil rights movement. It was born during the Black South African struggle against the violent apartheid regime. And in the early 1990s, the leader of the ANC Youth League, Peter Makaba, made the song popular.
It has always meant the enemy as a system of white supremacy and has never meant any individual on the basis of this or that color. And even as we chanted these slogans during the armed struggle, they have never driven us to the houses of the whites or to the farmers as individuals to kill them.
The song has long been controversial. Malema has sung it before and faced backlash. In 2011, a high court ruled that the chant was hate speech and barred the then ANC member from singing it. After the decision, the ANC stopped using the chant, and Malema left the party and founded the EFF. His party has campaigned for the nationalization and redistribution of the farmlands to the black majority. And he has continued to sing it, but at some points changed the words.
Kiss the Boer, the farmer, kiss the Boer.
Last year, Malema appeared again in court in a hate speech case brought by AFRIFORUM over the song. But this time, the judge ruled in favor of the EFF.
The objective evaluation of the impugned song is that it does not constitute hate speech, but rather it deserves to be protected under the rubric of freedom of speech.
But despite last year's ruling, recent events have brought the debate back to life. Malema has defended his actions and responded to Elon Musk by calling him illiterate and saying the only thing that protects him is his white skin.
And I won in court. The court said there's nothing wrong singing "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer."
The controversy around the chant has once again highlighted that racial division, inequality, and violence seeded during apartheid continue to haunt South Africa.
Well, of course, South Africa is not alone in its struggle to unite the country across racial lines, but is the Rainbow Nation succeeding or regressing in its efforts? Well, joining me now to debate that are Leanne Matthys, a spokesperson for the Economic Freedom Fighters. Callie Kriel is the CEO of AFRIFORUM, a South African NGO focused mainly on the interests of its Afrikaans-speaking people. And Philip Dexter is a political activist and former member of the South African Parliament.
The interviewer will give her the benefit of the doubt and say that there were a little challenges because it was done on Zoom. So of course there's the delay. Technology has its issues with internet connection, but her questioning was definitely obvious that she was going for her own agenda.
Thanks all so much for being with me. Leanne, I'll start with you and let you begin by telling us why, especially knowing at the very least the sensitivities associated with Kill the Boer, the EFF feels it must be sung.
When you ask a question as a broadcaster, you have to be clear, concise, and to the point. Yes, sometimes you will lead the interviewee if you want them to go in a certain direction, but this journalist took it to a different level. She led by adding information and her perspective into the question instead of just asking a simple question. And the representative from the EFF definitely was upset by this.
Even to tell
We
us
haven't
what
yet
we
heard
need.
from AFRIFORUM, so we'll get to that in a second. But this is the criticism, and it's not just, I'm not talking about AFRIFORUM now, is that people say your party has gone to an extreme by completely bypassing reconciliation. And they've used this trigger to unfairly rally their crowds in a more extremist sense. Why do you think that sort of extreme is actually necessary, and you don't think it actually just elicits really dangerous behavior?
No, it's not dangerous. It's propaganda. And you are being fed this by these same nonsense people that are going around sharing this. We have been saying this a million times. This is a struggle chant. No one is aggravating anybody here. We are singing, we are still in a struggle here in South Africa for economic freedom in our lifetime. We are a radical and a militant movement, and we're not ashamed about doing that. Are we going to conscientize our people on what actually happened in 1994 and why we remain landless while the inequalities gaps continue, while we continue having white supremacists running around this country and talking nonsense, while we have important issues to deal with, of owning our land, of making sure people are able to farm, of making sure our children are not dying in pit toilets, and we must be dealing with that.
She tried to backpedal the journalist and say that's not what I meant, but in fact, the damage was done because that set the tone for the rest of the interview for the EFF representative. I will also say that whenever you're interviewing a topic that has to do with politics, there's going to be emotion involved. So as an interviewer, you need to be prepared to diminish the emotion or bring it down so that you can get the answers you're searching for. But this interviewer was not interested in that. She wanted the drama. She wanted the emotion there to portray the members in a different light.
Continue not owning our land, while we continue not having the means of production, and while we continue with these white supremacists such as this Kriel guys who go around the world lobbying and talking nonsense propaganda about whites and their lives matter more than black people here in South Africa. It's not going to happen anymore. We are sick and tired of having to deal with this level of racism and supremacy here in South Africa when we are struggling just to get an African child to have decent education and not to die here in school. And then we must be here dealing with this nonsense of AFRIFORUM wanting to tell us about a struggle song.
I'll tell you what, we haven't...
And they want to come and even have the audacity.
As she started to ask questions, when sometimes she was trying to get them to wrap up the answers and there was a gap in the technology, instead of breaking it down and stopping to give another person an opportunity from AFRIFORUM to chime in, she asked a follow-up question that she knew would trigger a response. Again, this let the EFF representative carry on and talk longer than she probably would have normally. If she was in the studio, I'm sure she would have handled it differently. However, the interviewer was not successful at controlling the responses.
I'll tell you what, it's very difficult to understand both of you, at least in my earpiece. So I'm going to come back to Philip quickly. Philip, I have to
And
ask you this because you talk about how it's
and-
now being portrayed in the media and how you think actually the the AFRIFORUM has done itself no favors.
When the interviewer carried on to talk to the member from AFRIFORUM, as well as from the gentleman aligned with the ANC, she didn't give as leading questions. She just asked simple questions, so there wasn't as much agenda there. In fact, she let them talk for a long period of time, more so than Leanne. I wonder why that was.
Yes, well, I think if people just listen to the reaction, they can know clearly where the problem is. This is the EFF is not a party that wants to build a future, and you will hear her interrupt me because decent behavior is not part of the EFF's vocabulary, and you can see that on stage. But let me tell you, the fortunate news that the people of the world should know is that the 90% of this country don't vote for the EFF. They are a fringe group. We work on grassroots level. We have joint agricultural projects with black communities. We have agreements with black communities. And what we are hearing from the ordinary black person, as well as the Afrikaners who are our constituency and other people, we have one thing in common. We have children that we want to create a future for. And how should we do that? We should promote mutual recognition and respect. And if you look at the divided past we have, it takes a lot of work to build mutual recognition and respect. And therefore, we cannot stand for the fact that somebody sings, "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer." And you know, people now want to look at the struggle context, but context is everything. If you look at the context in which the EFF uses this hate language, you see people on a stage, very provocative, making sounds of guns, and then you hear spokespersons of the organization, as well as their leader, Julius Malema, that says he cannot give an undertaking that he will not call for a large-scale slaughter of whites, as well as Sanabu, and I can tell you, Leanne also won't give that undertaking.
One thing an interviewer has to do is listen carefully to the answers and responses and do their research. But unfortunately, this interviewer did not do either. For example, when AFRIFORUM was talking about the impact this struggle song had after being sang at the rally and somebody died the next day by having their throat slashed, she should have said, "Do you have proof that it was the rally song that caused that?" She did not.
This is not, this is only a struggle song. It's got nothing to do with that. You are provoking people now. And just after they sang this song, on Sunday, the day after their meeting, a person with the name of Theo Becker's throat was slit on a farm. So if they think it's funny, and they can, you're showing, Leanne, you're showing absolute disrespect for human life. And that is the problem, and we won't tolerate it. We will withstand you and we will defeat you.
I need to turn to Philip at this point. Let me interrupt both of you there. I mean,
and when she was introducing the member from the ANC, she introduced him incorrectly and also alluded to the fact that the ANC banned the song. In fact, the ANC did not ban it, only the court could ban it. The ANC asked the members not to use it.
Philip, I'll come to you now. I mean, you are technically not aligned with a party anymore, though you previously worked with the ANC. So I first want to ask you what you thought when you heard Julius Malema singing "Kill the Boer" before 100,000 people, especially knowing that the ANC had banned that song.
Well, let me just say, first of all, I am a member of the ANC, so I am aligned to it.
Okay. Very quickly, Philip, I mean, I was told you didn't want to be identified as an ANC kind of party member in this program, yet you say you are aligned with the ANC, and you know the ANC had banned the song, so why are they not saying anything now? Are they anticipating possibly having to form a coalition with the EFF after next year's election? Is this about politics, so that even though they agree with you that it's provocative and unnecessary and that they were right to ban the song in the first place, they're not going to stand that ground now?
first of all, I didn't say did not want to be aligned to the ANC. I said I'm not an official spokesperson of the ANC.
Fair enough.
And I said I'm speaking in my personal capacity, but it's well known what my political affiliations are. Secondly, the ANC did not ban the song. The ANC has no power to ban a song. What the ANC had said was that they didn't think it was necessarily the right thing to do, because whilst people had said we shouldn't sing it, it's only really a court that could ban the song.
Okay.
What the ANC said is it wanted its members to refrain from singing the song.
The member that aligned with the ANC, Philip came out very calm, cool, and collective because the emotion was not there for him. He was just speaking specifically. But as he go on into the interviewer then asked another question that she was looking for a specific reaction and question that she gave to Leanne. And that was asking if, in fact, she felt the new generation understood or was informed about the struggle song and what it meant about the struggle itself. This incited an emotional response to Leanne. In fact,
okay, let me come back to Leanne, because, veterans of the struggle, and the court has actually said that this song should not be taken literally because of the context and the history. But do you think, honestly, younger people in South Africa today who were not part of the struggle really understand that in contemporary South Africa, where things are as racially charged as ever, it seems?
I don't know if you want to even phrase a question like that, because how it can be interpreted that you're undermining Africans and we don't have the ability to understand that. People say we're fighting crime. We use all sorts of aggressive language when we are fighting against a system that is brutal. So when you say that, do you think that this generation who was not part of the previous struggle for political power now understands that? I find it almost racist to even ask that question.
No. I'm asking about their experience, their specific experience, because they don't have it. That's just a fact. And that determines in some ways how they relate to what is said today.
No, but it's also saying that we don't have mental capacity as Africans.
No.
Okay, let's leave it. Let's say you're not saying, but the way you phrase the question, I find it extremely patronizing that Africans don't have the capacity to be able to sing a song and understand that it is a chant and it doesn't mean literal.
Okay, so basically you're saying younger people do understand. That was simple answer to my question. Go ahead.
Okay.
when we discuss the new generation, it is important for us to first look at what's happening in the homes. That's where parents need to start to educate their children about racism, the rights from wrongs. For us, it may seem like common sense, so that when they go on to school, they're educated enough to know what's right and what's wrong and what racism actually is. And then when they get to the schools need to carry on the education to show people how to act appropriately in public, how to treat one another, and how to create a sense of inclusion and belonging. It was done purposely, in my opinion. But really, truly, if she had done her research, she would know the answer to that question. There'd be no need to ask it. Just think of Stellenbosch, where the white student peed on the black student's laptop computer, causing a lack of dignity and chaos to his student.
Why are you peeing in my room?
Huh?
Why are you peeing in my room, bro?
Waiting for someone.
Huh?
Oi.
What, bro?
Waiting for a room, man.
What?
It's interesting when they talked about Elon Musk chiming in at the beginning of this interview about how the EFF was inciting white genocides. He was quick to tweet that out, but where was the tweet when the white student peed on the laptop? I didn't see it, did you? Food for thought. As the interview continued, more and more, the interviewer lost control of the interview. Yes, as I mentioned, there was technical difficulties and not everybody heard in time when she was trying to get people back on track. But it caused so out of control that the members of the panel were talking to one another instead of to the interviewer.
Stop patronizing Africans and telling us about agricultural projects on our own land. We want the means of production.
Like a child. You debate like a child.
This is something you learn in journalism and broadcasting 101, how to control your panel or interview. I don't know about you, but I think in this interview she was looking for the drama, she was looking for the excitement, the sensationalism of the hot topic. She didn't think about the impact her questions or the way this interview went would have on her panelists. Another thing that I wanted to point out that I consider very, very disrespectful is the fact that when she was wrapping up, she asked a question to Leanne about land. And she could have asked a simple question, what is the vision of the EFF for the land? But instead, she started to put her own take on it once again, and mentioning about Zimbabwe as well.
Leanne, then let me just ask you, just with the last minute left, I'll let you tell us more about this vision that you're referring to, because you want these landless people to have land. I mean, what is your vision? Are people ready to farm again? Is that where you see South Africa going? You really envision so many people going back to the land and farming and building the economy and their future that way? Is that realistic? I know you hate the Zimbabwe comparison, but it didn't quite work out that way for many Zimbabweans. But is that still what the EFF holds to, and they'll do it their own way more effectively?
Yes, I understand. She's trying to show that she did some research and she knows this and she knows that. But in fact, she was diminishing the importance of the topic. Was this done intentionally or not? We'll never know. We're not in her mind. But I will tell you, when I train my broadcasters, my students to do their interviews effectively, I would definitely not use this as an example of how to handle an interview. In fact, I would use it as how not to handle an interview. I encourage you to check this interview out and let me know your thoughts. Let's have a conversation, because we know this is a hot topic. We know that we will continue to analyze different broadcasters as they come forward. But what were your takes on it? I'd love to hear it. Drop it in the comments below. And please don't forget to hit that notification button. That way you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content as quickly as it comes. Until next time, please don't forget to like and share. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.